What's going on, y'all? This is like the umpteenth time I tried to do this damn review. Something is telling me, I don't know what it's trying to tell me, but I'm gonna try it. Hopefully, this goes through. This is Braxton Family Values, Season 4, Episode 1, the premiere. Now, let me start this off by saying I respect everybody, but y'all know how my reviews are. I just say it how it is. So, with that being said, the episode starts off with everybody being in New York. Tony and Babyface, they doing the play on Broadway after midnight, and they're all down there to support her. And while they're doing that, it's also Tamar's birthday. So, at the very beginning, everybody is cool, cordial, getting along, loving, and all that shit. Okay. Tony, she's doing rehearsals and she's sounding great. Tony could be a jazz singer if she wanted to, okay? I can see her back in the 1920s, 1930s in somebody jazz club just going the fuck off and being famous off of that. I could really see that. But she's been on Broadway 3 times before and but she's still nervous. So it's understandable because of her health issues and things of that matter. So they supposed to be having this party for Tamar. The girls, they go out and go look for a cake with the mom and the daddy. Now the mom is already at the shop. The daddy come in and he giving her a hug and kissing on her and all this shit. And it was lingering, like a lingering ass hug. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Mama E just trying to give off that impression like, oh, get off me, Braxton. Stop it. Your wife gonna see this. Move the fuck away from me. And I'm sitting here like, stop playing, girl, because I'm getting the vibe that you kind of like that. On the low key, you look like y'all kind of still get along with each other, and you just don't want nobody to know that you still like your husband or your ex-husband, I should say. Maybe on a real drunken ass night, I don't know, whatever gets you tipsy or whatever floats your boats and how you get your high. Maybe on one of those nights, hey, something may happen. He even said y'all might come up out of here with a baby brothers. Don't say no shit like that, because that's just I don't want to think about that, but I just put it out there. But I don't want to think about nothing like that. But anyway, they was getting the cakes and shit together, and you know, trying to get Tamar cake together, whatever. Braxton, the daddy, he shaded the fuck out of Tamar. Oh, what do we want to put on the cake? Do we want to put Tamar or should we put mouth? I said mouth because for obvious reasons, but it is what it is. Mama Braxton was like, no, we're not going there. We're going to put Tamar. I was like, okay, you can do what you got to do. So after that, it's her birthday. They go to this birthday party, and I'm telling you, this review probably going to be simple, but I do got some shit to say. They go to the birthday party, and I can't remember what happened. They go to the birthday party. My bad, y'all. Scatterbrain. Look, it's been a long ass day. I was up north all damn day. And I mean, not up north where I usually be, but all the way fucking up north. And it was just, I had a job interview and all this shit. It was just crazy. And I think I'm dehydrated. I don't know what's going on, but so if the review is scattered, there you go. There you go. It's always something. Always something. But anyway, pause. I went up north. It's like all those white people that's up there, they just look the same. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, when I say they all look the same, dress the same, I said, damn, what a diversity at. But okay, they rich, so whatever. So anyway, moving on from that, they're at the birthday party. Everybody's getting along. They sitting down. They're eating. Tamar and her friends are there. The whole family is there. All of a sudden, Trina sits down, and then Gabe sits down, and then I'm sitting here like, I just don't understand. I don't understand, and I guess it's not meant for me to understand or meant for none of us to understand and get. I mean, that's what Trina likes. Y'all already know my thoughts on that shit. She deserves so much fucking better, and she can get better, but hey, if she want to stick around in that situation, let her. Look, when we was down in Atlanta and she walked past, I was like, oh my God, there goes Trina. I kind of got happy a little bit. I smiled and all that shit. And then all of a sudden, Gay walked up on the side of her, and all that just went away. I'm so glad they ain't had kids. That's all I gotta say. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just so glad that they did not reproduce with one another. Moving on from that, everybody was kind of shocked. Well, Tawanda knew that they was back together. Tamar didn't know, and we didn't know, obviously. But hey, it is what it is. So they wanted to do toast, and Tamar wanted everybody to say something nice about her. Trina said what she had to say. Tawanda, look, it's Tawanda actually said some nice stuff. I don't know how sincere it was, but she said some nice stuff about Tamar, because y'all know they got into it. Season 3 was not a good season for them, okay, and they got into it at the end of it, and I was just sitting here looking at this like, because she started it off like, I ain't on no mushy shit, I ain't with that shit. I ain't trying to show all my emotions and all that bullshit. And I was like, okay, Tawanda, I understand it, because I'm not with that bullshit either, I ain't got time. I don't want to connect with my motherfucking feelings right now. We ain't got time for all that. But then she's, started saying, oh, I love you, and even though we get into it, and yada, 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 and we care, and da, 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 da. That was fine. Now, I was sitting here like, it took a lot. How long did it take you to think of that? Because it seemed like she had to pull that out of her somewhere, like she had it rehearsed. It was like one of those, man, you forcing me to say this shit. I don't know. That's what I was kind of feeling. But hey, maybe it was sincere. I would hope so. I'm not going to doubt it, but it was like pulling teeth to me, if you ask. But then somebody else in the room, I guess it was one of Tamar's friend, I think his name was Charles, he gets this toast and was like, ever since I've known you, you've been the same. Everybody always trying to say that, even when people say that you changed, I see that you haven't changed. You've been the same person since day one. Trina was like, and I was like, oh, because then Tawanda and Tracy was like, and I was like, oh Lord. So of course, a whole bunch of shit gets started right then and there, because all of a sudden Tawanda gets up and her feelings was like, oh, so you know her a long time? You known her a long time? Well, I haven't known her, as long as y'all have, but I known her for some years, and I'm saying ever since I seen her, she ain't changed. Oh, so I was like, damn, Tawanda, calm down, calm down. Now, here's the thing. We're going to get to it. Because I got some shit to say. We're going to get to it. Tamar was trying to diffuse the situation and trying to, say he wasn't coming for y'all. It's no shade to y'all. He was just saying what he feel and all that shit. Now, when I first saw it and when I heard it, I did not think that he was talking about them or was trying to throw shade at them. And it almost seems as if a hit dog hollers. That's what it seemed like, Obviously you felt some type of way, and that whatever he said touched your spirit, and you had to say something. And there you go. So, they getting their feelings over that shit. I said, damn, y'all can't even have a little birthday party without getting into it. What the fuck is going on? We gonna move on from that. And Tony in her dressing room waiting for, trying to do her own makeup, because her makeup artist is part of the union and some shit with the union, and so she can't do it. And I'm sitting here like, girl, what? Okay, so, of course she got her niece, and we gonna move on. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just some shit. I'm not going there. But, she goes out there on stage and she do what she do, and she sounded great. And I wish I was in New York, because I would want to go see that. Look, see, we get good shit out here, but half the time I don't even be knowing what's out here, and I need to go to a Broadway play. I really want to go to a Broadway play. I'm going to have to do that one day before I go. I'm just saying. But after that, they go to a little dinner in celebration of Tony on her, her stage play and doing a good job and all that stuff, and, celebratory dinner. That's what it was. So they're all having this, congratulating Tony, having a nice time. And then the subject of Tay Martians come up. If I skip some stuff, y'all can fill it in the comments. But I'm just getting to the stuff that I remember that stood out. And this is one of the scenes that stood out, because I knew people was going to get in their feelings. about this thing, and I'm talking about the Tamartians and Tamar herself. They was gonna get in their feelings. But the truth is, we're gonna say this. At first, when I first saw the clip, I thought Tony was being shady. Like, girl, you don't know what a Tamartian is. Because she said, what is a Tamartian? Babyface daughter, I believe, Tony was supposed to be going to a party with Babyface, and then she was like, I can't. She tired or whatever the fuck. And then Trina started talking about the little girl and how she was saying, what she did to her nails and all this stuff. And then that's when Tamar was like, oh, so she a Tamartian. And then that's when Tony was like, you see, it just came back. That's why I had to go back. Tony was like, so what's a Tamartian? And I'm sitting here like, you done went 2 seasons when all this shit started and you don't know what it is. So that's why I felt like, Tony, was you trying to be shady or whatever? Maybe, but then again, maybe she really was asking to be asking. So then, as soon as she asked that question, Tawanda was like a rude young ass child on Twitter. And, Tamar got in her feelings like, no, you don't talk about my Tamartians because they're my fans. And, the ones that I've met, they're not rude and things of that matter. And, my Tamartians have my name and all this stuff and yada, yada, yada. She was trying to defend her fan group. And I get where Tawanda is coming from. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, the Tamartians are not rude. No, because some of them are. Some of them are rude as fuck. Some of them are ignorant as fuck. Some of them are annoying as fuck. And some of them she associate with. I'm just fucking saying. And it is what it is. But it's the way that you say your words. It's your wording. Because once again, what Tawanda did coming out of her mouth is she categorized and generalized and put basically a whole group of her fans. Basically, when you hear a statement like that, you saying that the whole entire fan base or the whole entire group are nothing but young, rude kids on Twitter. And that's not the case. And, Trina and Tawanda, I think Tracy, whatever, they was kind of agreeing with Tawanda too. And I only agree because I've seen some of those. And I know that not all of those are like that, because it's always like that in every stand group. You have those that are very level-headed, and then you have those that are annoying as fuck and who do too damn much and who are rude and too fucking disrespectful. That's in every stand group. Okay? Tamartians are not exempt. Alright? I've seen it. I witnessed it. And I be just like, what the fuck is this? They go after the sisters just because they don't agree with their opinions on Tamar or whatever. And it's just like, how you going to attack the family like that? Because at the end of the day, that's blood, and they going to always be cool with each other regardless of what we may think. They may have a falling out, but at the end of the day, they family. So calm that shit down. Tawanda was going off of, this is where she made another mistake. She was going off of an experience that happened, because I clearly remember it, because Twitter went into an uproar and had this person's account suspended too, because a whole bunch of them followed me. But some boy last season got dead in his feelings, and I don't even think he was a Tamartian. And he got dead in his feelings over some shit that Tawanda said about Tamar on the episode, I believe. And then gonna tweet out saying that I hope, if you keep on talking shit about Tamar, they're gonna rape your kids and get some shit like that. It was very fucking disgusting and very fucking disrespectful. And that's what she brought up. And then I was like, because she said, oh, they talking about raping my kids and hoping they get hit by a bus or whatever. And I'm like, no, only one person said that I remember. Don't say they, because I didn't see they. I saw one person say that. Once again, choose your words correctly, because the wording will make things mean different ways, okay? Mean different things and have different contexts with the different choices of words. I'm just saying, words mean things. And so she got into her feelings over that, because she's like, these my fans and the people that I've met and I've interacted with or whatever, they're not rude. I'm going to let you have that one, but we're going to agree to disagree. we gonna agree to disagree because I can go there, but this is not the video to go there. But moving the fuck on. So they have another little get together because, you know, everybody's about to leave New York. Tony's about to go do another show. And, you know, Tony, once everybody sits down and they get settled, Tony was like, she wasn't feeling what happened at the dinner the day before. And so, you know, once again, the subject gets brought up about the birthday party and the guy saying, you know, I know people be saying that you changed, but you didn't change. And basically, what I'm not finna go through everything. Tawanda is in her feelings over that. Tamar's in her feelings over that. You know, Tawanda feel like, how you gonna defend, you know, also the little speech about the thing about the Tamartian thing, how you defending strangers over your family. And I'm like, I mean, I get it, but okay, whatever. But this thing with the child situation and the saying, you know, I've known you ever since I known you. You haven't changed, even though people say you changed. And then she, you know, upset with that statement. Like, gonna say, how does he know how you changed or who you are? Was he there? And how can he say something like that? And I'm like, Tawanda, I tried to be there for you on this subject, but the fact of the matter is, you made the assumption that he was throwing shade or he was talking and referring to you and your sisters. Okay? You made that assumption because there have been people out there outside of y'all family, you know, go on Twitter, go in on the internet or whatever, who have said, yeah, Tamar's changed or whatever. She let this and she did this and yada yada yada. So that's probably who he was referring to. You know, he could have been referring to that. He could have been referring to y'all, but he didn't say no name. And I didn't think that he was referring to y'all. That didn't automatically pop in my head when I first heard him say that. And the way that, and the reason why he can say that is because his experience with Tamar. Maybe when he saw Tamar and from the, you know, first time that he saw Tamar to the time now, he's saying from his own experience from when she be with him, oh, she hasn't changed. Okay? Your experience with her is different. So maybe your experience, she has changed. So that's how he can say that. So how are you going to get upset? You assumed that he was talking about you. And this is what I can't stand when motherfuckers assume shit. Motherfuckers assume shit so damn much. I get that shit a lot. Like, don't fucking assume. Just ask the goddamn question and I will tell you exactly who and what the fuck it is that I'm talking about. Because then you will get your feelings hurt like Tawanda just got her feelings hurt. Okay? Tracy is like, Tawanda be trying to act like this shit don't bother her. Like Tamar don't get to her, but she does. And, you know, Tony was over it. She was like, fuck this shit. I'm finna go. I don't need this negative energy around me. I got a show in an hour. I can't do this. Tamar winds up leaving too because she was just over it. And Tawana was like, you always walking away instead of talking it out. Which is, you know, they showed some little flashbacks and which is true. But at this point in time, I don't even think that they was going to get anywhere regardless of if they stayed. It would have been just a shouting match. And it was just like, girl, just let it go for right now. This ain't the time to do it. Y'all is in a white person's establishment. I'm just saying. And then, you know, Mama is like, either y'all get that shit together or just don't talk to each other right about now. Trina got into her feelings when she said that, and I'm like, girl, she was like, why would she tell us that? Why would she say that? Because every time y'all get together lately, y'all been in some shit. You know, separate for a minute. Do your own thing, clear your head, and then come back and try this shit again. Okay? Argument free. And, you know, Tamar leaves and all that shit, which she does always fucking leave, but it's neither here nor there. And once that happens, Tawanda, you know, she gets all in her feelings, and at first I can see it, and I can relate to just holding that shit in because she's like, everybody, you know, if she say something, people want to come after her, and she just holds it in, and then all of a sudden she just fucking exploded and was like, nobody cares. And that's when she, you know, bamming on the table like she goddamn crazy and, you know, breaking glasses and shit. Mama Braxton, girl, you good. You good because she gonna say, Tawanda, you can't be doing that. And I said, get mad. You almost cut me with a goddamn glass, bitch. All right. You know, I fuck your feelings right now. My hand was right there, and you could have sliced me up. All right. You know, you do that shit at home. Okay. You don't come up in nobody else's establishment breaking their dishes. All right. What was you doing? Listening to Rihanna breaking dishes before this shit, and the words was just up in your head, and you was like, "Fuck this shit. Let me break this shit. Let me get some fucking attention right here." But I do feel bad for Tawanda a little bit because I understand where she's coming from. I know people were coming down on her last season. You know, I probably said some shit because I wasn't understanding some stuff, but I wasn't. I'm not gonna say I was going hard on her. No, I just pointed out some shit. But she did get attacked on Twitter and all this shit because of her opinions on Tamar by some of her fans, by the fucking Tamartians. All right, now all of a sudden everybody want to be kumbaya and oh, you know, we're not gonna attack the girl. Shut the fuck up, cause y'all did that shit last season. Let's stop playing. Let's not get on here and act dumb as fuck and like act like none of y'all wasn't camped out up into Wanda's fucking missions and going to fuck off because, you know, in their eyes, Tamar can't do no fucking wrong. I'm just fucking saying. But, hey, I'm not here to play dumb. Like, call it how I fucking see it, and that's how I see it all the goddamn time. I just be quiet. I just be quiet lately because I just be like, okay. But, either way, you know, I just didn't appreciate her breaking all them glasses. Like, girl, who gonna pay for this shit? We TV paying for this or you paying for this out of pocket? Because, don't do that. And then gonna walk away, girl. You walked away like you was. I'm finna go talk to my sister. That was Tracy. I'm finna go see about my sister. I was like, go see about your sister, girl. Okay, go see. But other than that, you know, Trina had a little breakdown. She was crying and feeling it. You know, that was the episode, y'all. I truly look. All of this is my opinion. Okay, you know, and if you want to feel some type of way, you know, then you feel some type of way. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just talking about everybody in general because, you know, everybody got their certain person that they like more than the other. And hey, it is what it is. But all in all, this was a good premiere episode. I'm very much here for everything that's gonna happen. And yeah, y'all tell me how y'all feel about it, please.